Welcome to the video, everyone. Today we will be going through step number 2 of setting up your income and expense planning tool, which is establishing a budget. Jumping right into it, let's go to the Template Setup tab by clicking on the button on the intro screen. We can see here step number 2 is laid out and there's a short description provided. Now, what you'll basically be doing in this step is creating a budget by month for the rest of the year. How do I normally use a budget? I use a budget as a blueprint of how I want to spend my money during the year and how much I ultimately want to save. Think of it like guide rails to control your finances. As it mentions in the description, we need to go to the Budget tab. Navigate there by clicking on the icon or click the actual tab below. I'll click on the icon. Looking at the layout of the tab, you'll have a short instruction row at the top in row number 4, followed by a blank income statement taking up the majority of the tab. A legend is provided in the upper left-hand corner of the screen that allows you to navigate what different types of cells you can modify. As we look at the cell legend, we can see that any cell in this light gray color means that it can be modified. We can see here if I go to a light gray cell that I'm able to type numbers into it. If we look at one that is this dark gray or charcoal color, we can see that that indicates a drop-down box. If we go to a dark gray or charcoal one, we can see that it is indeed a drop-down box that has all the different months in it. Now, from here, I want to break the tab into 3 different sections. For section number 1, you will notice that column H is populated with all the different categories that you populated in the previous step. If you do not see your categories in there, go back to the Income Expense Categories tab and click on both active buttons located at the bottom of this income section. And again, that will repopulate the model with all of your specific categories. Now, section number 2, which takes up most of the page, displays your monthly budget for each budget category. We can see it's broken out into our buckets from before of income, fixed expenses, and discretionary expenses. Then at the bottom, we have a net income, or your amount of savings. This simply represents how much income you have left over after subtracting out your fixed and discretionary expenses. Any row highlighted in this light blue color indicates a subtotal. So this subtotal for total fixed expenses will represent mortgage, homeowners association, and electric bills all summed up. When we input any amount for any of these categories, it'll populate in each of these months right here that right now displays 0. Section number 3 is an area in which you will type your actual budget assumptions, specifically looking at columns A, C, and AD, where we have our monthly manual and our year-end manual. For monthly manual, what that simply means is it's going to populate all these monthly values with whatever value that you put into this column AC. As an example, if we want to spend $350 a month on food, I would type in $350 in the monthly manual section and it would populate for each month. That would make the year-end number $4,200. Let's give it a quick try. If we go down to the food section and we select monthly manual and put in $350, we can see the model will populate with $350 each month with a year-end total of $4,200. That is your first option. Now your second option is year-end manual in column AD. What year-end manual allows you to do is input a year-end number that will then populate what each month needs to be to hit the year-end number. An example is if I only want to spend $1,200 a year on entertainment, I would type in $1,200 into the year-end manual section, and that would set the monthly budget so that the sum of all the months is $1,200 at year-end. We can see, if we try it right here, we will go to year-end manual and we will type in $1,200. In turn, that will populate each month with the monthly value that equals $1,200 at year-end. Now, one important thing to note here is you must choose one or the other. You cannot have a value in both monthly manual and year-end manual. You must select one. But if I did want to have, say, a monthly manual pick for food, but then a year-end pick for entertainment, that's perfectly fine. That works out fine. Again, you just cannot select both of them for the same category. Now we will actually go step by step and populate the tab. First step, is to select the month you want your budget to start. If you buy this model in March, you would select March, and that will allow you to only populate the budget for the months of March through December. If we go to this drop-down box real quick and select March, we can see that January and February in the model will actually disappear, leaving you with March through December. For the purposes of this example, I will set it equal to January so that we can have a full 12-month budget. Again, we have all of our categories here in column H. So let's go category by category. Salary is a special category that you have a couple more options at your disposal for. Up at the top of the page, there's a section called Salary Planning. In the Salary Planning section, we'll see that there are two different options. There's a Salary by Month section, and then there's a Salary by Pay Period button. By selecting Salary by Month, that will result in each monthly value to be the same amount every month. That being said, I would type in my monthly salary, and again, every month would populate with the same number. Putting a year-end number in will also yield the same monthly value. As an example, if we select Salary by Month, and we go to the Salary section, let's type in a total monthly salary of $4,200 a month. We'll see that populates each month with $4,200 and results in a year-end total amount of take-home pay at $50,400. If we undo this and we go back up to the salary planning portion and click Salary by Pay Period, that's going to be slightly different. Depending on where you work, you may receive multiple paychecks a month, meaning there are multiple pay periods in the month. Many people are paid bi-weekly or even every other week. As an example, if I'm paid bi-weekly, then I would receive 26 paychecks a year since there are 52 weeks in a year divided by 2. That means most months I would get 2 paychecks, but then there would be 2 months where I receive 3 paychecks. We can see this section in row 18 allows us to adjust the number of pay periods that fit in each month. As a result, you can also see that these cells are in this light gray color, so you can modify these if your situation is different. If my take-home pay is $2,100 per paycheck, I select the Salary by Pay Period and type in $2,100 in this column. So selecting this Salary by Pay Period, let's put in $2,100 in the monthly section. We can see here that it's going to populate each of the months and year-end values. Now on this, we can see that the values are not the same every single month. We can see that while the majority of them are $4,200, there are two in July and December that have a higher value. This is due to the fact that there are extra pay periods in those specific months, because again, we've got 26 pay periods in the year in this situation. That gets us to a year-end value of $54,600. So as we look at the two different methodologies, we can see that Salary by Month gets us to around $50,000 at year-end, while Salary by Pay Period gets us to $54,000 at year-end. These values will be lower than your actual salary since this is all post-taxes and deductions. Technically, in this situation, Salary by Pay Period gets us more accurate estimation of what I'll have at year-end, since the monthly option doesn't take into account the 2 months, in this case July and December, that have more than 2 pay periods. In July and December, those are months where we're actually getting 3 pay periods, so we want to make sure we account for that extra income. The other special salary option available in the model is the ability to factor in a raise. You simply type in the percent increase you're expecting, and then in column AD, you decide when the raise will actually take effect. So if we go to the column AC14, we can see this is a light gray cell. Per the legend, that means it can be modified. This is where we put our salary increase. Let's put in that 5% salary increase, and then let's assume that it takes effect in April. So we'll go over this charcoal box and select the drop down here. As we go to the monthlies, we can see here that starting in April, that $4,200 actually goes up by 5% to $4,400 for the remainder of the year because that is your new salary. Okay, now that we have salary done, let's go down the line and populate each category with a pick. For interest, Interest rates have been rather low, so let's just include a rather small monthly value for that of $2 gets us to $24 at year end. As we go to our mortgage, you should probably know what your mortgage is on a monthly basis. It should be pretty steady, but for this purposes, let's just factor in $1,850 a month. Our HOA, I know that it's $250 a month. And then for electric, really I'm usually between $50 or $60, so I'll just type in $55 per month. That gets us our fixed expenses to $25,860 at the end of the year. Now as we go to discretionary expenses, again, look at some of your past bank statements, see how much you're spending. I'm going to put in $350. Entertainment, I'm going to put in around $100. Eating out, around $80. And then for large purchases, actually for that one, since I just moved into a new place, I'm actually going to put a year-end manual pick because I know that a lot of the purchases are going to be more sporadic during the year. There's not going to be a consistent monthly trend, and there's a couple large ticket items. So if we go to this, I know I need a couch, a TV, and some stuff may need replacing. So I'm actually going to factor in $4,000 here and spread that throughout the year. We can see that's going to spread it across all the monthlies to get to the $4,000 at year end. So as we look at this fully populated budget sheet, we can see that I'm targeting to make around $57,000 a year almost. And then as we go down, we can see that our total expenses, the sum of your fixed and discretionary expenses, is around $36,000. Based on this budget, and if I was to hold to this budget, then my net income or my savings is going to be $20,000 at the end of the year. With this, that concludes step number 2. Please select the next video for step number 3. I hope this was helpful. If so, leave a like and we'll see you in the next video.